You're going to go to this next story. Elon Musk says his son is dead, killed by woke mind virus. Rob, you have that clip. If you can play this clip on what he says about this. This is him, I believe, with Jordan Peterson on Daily Wire. Go ahead, Rob.
It happened to one of my older boys, where I was essentially tricked into signing documents for one of my older boys, Xavier. This is before I had really any understanding of what was going on, and we had COVID going on, and so there was a lot of confusion. I was told, Xavier might commit suicide if he.
That was a lie right from the outset.
Incredibly evil, and I agree with you that the people that have been promoting this should go to prison.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Leftist Losers Show, where we point out all of the losers of the left. And today I got a clip from the PBD Podcast where they are talking about an interview that Elon Musk recently did with Jordan Peterson. And in this interview, they talked about a lot of things, but specifically what I wanted to show you guys today was a clip that PBD went over where Elon Musk was essentially talking about his son, who he considers to be dead. Now, his son isn't actually dead. However, he was pushed down the pathway of transitioning his gender by way of, surgeries and hormones and other things. And Elon Musk considers his son essentially dead at this point because he's been, basically brainwashed by the woke ideology into believing this stuff. And it's effectively destroyed his life. And it's extremely frustrating for Elon Musk because he and his partners were essentially duped into sending his kid down this path by doctors who told him that his kid would kill himself and do all these other terrible things if they didn't do this stuff. And it's an awful, despicable thing that we're seeing across the country where kids are absolutely being abused. I mean, you take kids who have no idea about the world other than the little bit of life they've lived so far, and then we take their brains, which are essentially Play-Doh at this point, and we mold them into what we want to see out of them, going forward. And when you get these manipulative adults who teach them all these really terrible things and brainwash them, kids are the most susceptible to that kind of messaging, and it's really sad. It's really, really sad. And anyway, so Elon Musk and his son fell victim to this mind virus, and he's pretty much on a warpath now. Elon Musk, if you've paid any attention to him over the last few years, he is on a warpath to destroy the woke ideology, and rightfully so. And he has a personal reason to do that and want that. So anyways, let's go ahead and jump right into this clip where PBD is going to talk about that whole interview, and let's see what he has to say about this.
You're going to go to this next story. Elon Musk says his son is dead, killed by woke mind virus. Rob, you have that clip. If you can play this clip on what he says about this. This is him, I believe, with Jordan Peterson on Daily Wire. Go ahead, Rob.
It happened to one of my older boys, where I was essentially tricked into signing documents for one of my older boys, Xavier. This is before I had really any understanding of what was going on, and we had COVID going on, and so there was a lot of confusion. I was told, Xavier might commit suicide if he.
That was a lie right from the outset.
Incredibly evil. And I agree with you that the people that have been promoting this should go to prison.
You know what's really sad about this, folks, is the fact that Elon Musk is considered to be an extremely intelligent person. Regardless of how you feel about the man, I think we can all agree that the man's at least relatively intelligent with what he's able to accomplish in his life. And if we look at his history, the dude's definitely smart, right? And he was even able to be manipulated by a doctor into thinking that the right path for his kid was, transitioning his gender and going through all of that stuff, which just absolutely destroys the life of the child. And Elon knows that now, but at the time didn't. He wasn't aware. He didn't know about the subject, and he trusted the doctors. And that's why when they tell you to trust the science and not ever do your own research or look into things, they're hurting you. They're doing a major disservice to yourself. And yes, while there are people who aren't capable of doing research very well and might come to the wrong conclusions, that's the beautiful thing about America is you're allowed to have the wrong opinions. You're allowed to not understand things correctly. But brainwashing people into doing terrible things to children is the highest of evils in this world, and it's absolutely disgusting. And I agree with Elon Musk. These people 100% should be spending time in prison.
I was tricked into doing this, it wasn't explained to me that puberty blockers are actually just sterilization drugs. Anyway, and so I lost my son essentially. They call it dead naming for a reason.
Yeah,
All right. So the reason it's called dead naming is because your son is dead. So my son Xavier is dead. Killed by the woke mind virus.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what that would be like.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and there's lots of people in that situation now.
Right.
It's not pretty, and lots of demolished kids.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's a good reason.
If there's one thing that would motivate people to overhaul the system in this country, it's messing with people's kids. The thing with Republicans, and the reason why, it's funny the left always talks about how extreme the people on the right and the MAGA group are. The reality is the people on the right are the ones who run the country. They're the ones who actually put in the work needed to keep society moving forward. And because of that, and because they're raising families, because they're working hard jobs, because they're busy, they don't have time to protest and do the silly, goofy stuff that the activists on the left are always doing, terrorizing people and causing problems. And that's why you never see the right really do a whole lot. That's why January 6th was so crazy to the establishment, because the right never does things like that. Almost never, I should say, until they're really frustrated. But just look at the emotion that Elon Musk is feeling right now. His kid, like he said, he feels as though his kid is dead because they've effectively turned his son into a female. And so he doesn't have that son anymore. That person is gone. Even if that person wanted to come back and be a boy again, the drugs are irreversible. A lot of the effects on his body are not going to be able to be reversed, no matter what they tell you. The fact is, when you're a kid, you're still growing, and those drugs heavily affect the way you grow. So you'll never be able to, grow into what you would have been. It's too late. Like your puberty is permanently affected, and you're going to have a lot of health issues going forward. And that's just it's super sad to see that, man. It's absolutely disgusting. I have 2 sons myself. I could never imagine just being having been tricked into doing something to my son that would permanently destroy his life and change him forever, and having to live with the fact that as a parent, I didn't do enough to research what they were trying to put my son through. And that, I don't know how I would ever trust the system again or trust doctors again after that. It's insane. And then they want to be the ones to point at us and say we're crazy and evil and bigoted for not trusting these doctors and doing what they say and just doing whatever the left wants us to do. And it's like, these people are disgusting. And I feel like I say that every 5 seconds of my videos, but it's just every day there is something that the left is doing that is just the most despicable, evil act possible. And I don't understand how these people live with themselves. They trick themselves into thinking they're the ones doing the right thing, being nice, but they're so short-sighted. They don't see that what they're really doing is destroying society. And if they do see that, then they're truly, truly evil people that need to be stopped. And hopefully people will continue waking up. And that's the goal that I have with these videos is I would like to spread the word as much as I can and point out the hypocrisy wherever I can, because the more we can spread the word and wake people up, the more we can, I should say the faster we can push this, as he puts it, the mind virus out of our country, because it's effectively destroying Western civilization, and that needs to be stopped.
Isn't to be the final straw. All right, so let's...
So I vowed to destroy the woke mind virus after that.
What an enemy.
And we're making some progress.
Dude, I
Join the club.
love him.
Yeah.
Never cross the line with a father's child,
Dude.
man. Just don't do it.
Pat, does that
Especially one who's a true believer. Never do it. Never do it. You're going to get a side you've not seen before. Good for him. And by the way, a lot of people are in his camp right now. The difference is a lot of people, how many kids who are transgender? Here's a question for you. You ready for this? How many kids who are trans became trans because their parents supported it and encouraged it? For example, what is the Machine Gun Kelly's girl's name? Something Fox.
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox. She's got 3 kids. They're all trans.
Yeah,
Get out of here.
She dresses them as girls.
Can you pull this up? Megan Fox.
All 3?
Can you find out all 3 kids? All 3 kids.
With Brian Austin Green?
Hang on a second. Megan, let them be who they are. I think all 3 kids of
boys.
Megan Fox are gay or something like that.
All the boys dress as...
All 3 Megan Fox. So can you verify this?
She was making them dress as
She has
boys.
kids with the guy from 90210.
If I'm
yeah?
not mistaken, all 3 are. So then
Brian
you go
Austin
to
Green.
Charlize Theron adopted a son who's also transgender. Megan Fox has 3 sons who are all transgender or non-binary. Okay.
This is something we see a lot in places like California, where the culture there is heavily focused on wanting to be famous, wanting to be known, basically wanting attention. The type of people that they churn out of the culture in California, and especially Hollywood and LA, are narcissists. And these people like Megan Fox, it's Munchausen by proxy. If you ever heard of that, it's basically the condition where you utilize your kids. Basically, you say your kids have some kind of condition, whether it's real or not, so that way you can get attention as the parent. And it's disgusting. And I think a lot of the transgender stuff, at least especially in like the Megan Fox case that they're pointing out right now, I think that's what that is. I think the reality is Megan Fox is just looking to stay relevant. The same things that a lot of other celebrities do. They'll date or get married to each other just to stay relevant and get, a few headlines here or there. I think that's the same thing. There's no way all her little kids are freaking transgender at all, unless she has a doctor just like putting that on them, which is also equally insane. But I would be willing to bet Megan Fox, as weird as her and Machine Gun Kelly are, it's not really that surprising. I think they're doing it because it generated a headline. Look, they got an article written about it. Now they have more attention, which they need to continue living the lives of luxury that they live. They need the attention. That's the only thing they create is attention, right? So it's sad to see, man, because you're effectively ruining the image of these kids. Even if they don't do anything and they don't go through any of the processes, they're just saying that to get headlines. It's still sad because the kids are going to grow up and they're going to be their legacy. That's what people are going to look back and say, oh, weren't you transgender? And they had to live with that the rest of their lives because nothing disappears off the internet.
Okay, who are all transgender or non-binary. Now, this is the reports that you read about it. I don't know the exact details about it, but how many kids are transgender because their parents supported or encouraged it? What do you think, Tom? You know what the question is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because, like, for example, you think Magic Johnson is happy that his son is, who he is? At the beginning. Not today. At this point, he just wants to love his son. But at the beginning, when his son dresses, that's his son, by the way.
God, that is so scary.
That could have been a point guard for the Lakers. No, you guys are laughing like Bronny James. That could have been like the OG Bronny James. But it ended up being...
He's getting crossed up by a cross-dresser.
Right. So...
Oh my God. Okay. Look, I'm going to say something that's probably going to piss people off and going to get me in some trouble. But I think, I wonder if, like, in him... Sorry. Let me get a hold of my thoughts here. I wonder if in the case of that guy's son, it's a matter of wanting to garner the attention that their dad, had. Like, his dad was a major NBA star and is known world, around the world essentially. And what is he doing? Like, what is he doing with his life? I don't know him personally, so I don't know. But I feel like a lot of the mental health crisis that we're going through is an attention thing. Like, we live in a society now where everybody wants to be an influencer. Everybody wants to be the center of attention to gain, wealth and value in society. And it makes me wonder if that some of the people looking to obtain that come out on the other side doing stuff like this, like the Dylan Mulvaney's of the world, right? Like Dylan Mulvaney, if you look back at his history, I don't think that guy's transgender for real. Now, he is in the sense that he's gone through medical procedures to basically make it a reality, but I don't think that he actually wants, like, at his core, his soul, he's not trying to be a woman. I think the reality was he was trying to get famous, and that's why he was doing the things that he was doing. If you look back at his Instagram, he was posting stuff about being a gay, I don't know, it was like a zookeeper or something. And I think that he was just looking for whatever was going to get him clicks, and the transgender thing ended up just blowing him up, and he stuck with it. And he still lives by that till this day, because I think in the back of his mind, he thinks that's what's going to get him rich and famous. And I mean, it really has. I mean, he succeeded. It's just really sad that he's done so much damage to our society and our cultural fabric by doing so.
Broke your ankle.
But by the way, Dwayne Wade, go to Dwayne Wade.
Oh, God.
Right? Same exact thing with Dwayne Wade. What percentage of kids are trans because their parents encouraged and supported it?
Could it be 50?
I'm going to go more than 90%, and I'm going to go to something that Bill Maher said. And Bill Maher said when he goes back, this goes back about a year, and he had a very eloquent monologue that he did, was providing statistics on the percent of each generation. And his comment is, I can't, and I'm paraphrasing for him, but he said, I go to parties with Angelinos, and it's fashionable to talk about which of your kids is gay or trans. It's fashionable. And he said, why is it that more in LA are that way than he picked some Midwest city, Milwaukee. Could it be that the power of suggestion is pretty powerful and that these things with kids are truly just phases? And I think he hit the nail on the head. And here's a guy talking about celebrities and talking about firsthand what he saw. And that passes my...
Okay.
It passes my test because I'm like, here's a guy that's in the middle of Los Angeles directly talking about how celebrities and people out there.
So your answer is I got it. So your answer is 90%.
And I'm 90%.
And I think I agree with him. That's basically what I had said just before we got to this point. I completely agree. I think that the reality is if you look at the culture of the area, you know, kids want to fit in, right? I think we all, and that's why a lot of cartoons showing kids and a lot of movies, it's always like the bully and the weird kid that wants to fit in, and then he does something kind of act or something, and then he gets in with the hot cheerleader girl at the end, and then they're all friends or whatever, and they get rid of the bully, or you know like the cheesy 90s high school kid freaking TV show. I think that kind of idea resonates with the fact that kids want to fit in and find their place in society. And I think with the heavy push by corporations and political elites and thought leaders of our generations heavily pushing the LGBT agenda, I think that really influences kids to want to take on that mantle and that identity because it's a way for them to stand out, right? I mean, look at the number. 7% identify. That's higher than it's ever been. And then you think, okay, well, 7% is still not a lot of the population. So if a kid chooses to do that, that really will make him stand out. Maybe not as much today because the number's growing, but it makes you wonder how many kids are doing that or saying that they are that thing because it will make them more unique and they want the attention. And then you look at like Hollywood, and like Bill Maher said, it's a lot higher out there. And well, what's big in the culture out in California in that area? Well, it's Hollywood. It's attention seeking. It's, wanting to be famous. And so it makes even more sense that they would do something like that to stand out and get attention, right? Because that's what's considered valuable in that culture in that area is getting attention. So I don't think it's surprising. And the reality is what we have to do is pick who we idolize carefully and avoid these kinds of people. Not because they're, not saying that if you're gay or whatever, genuinely that you're a bad person. I'm not saying we can't idolize you for other means, but I'm saying we don't need to be putting so much focus on people's sexuality because it doesn't benefit society in any way. It just leads to degeneracy. And frankly, it's none of anyone's business. Like what you do in your bedroom is your business. Do whatever you want, but pushing it on everybody else and trying to make it into like have us idolize you makes no sense. And it's influencing our kids in the wrong direction and leading them down paths that are destructive, as we saw with Elon Musk's kid. I mean, now he's gone through all those, those surgeries and stuff and the therapies. What's going to happen when he's 20, 25 and he decides that was all a mistake and he wished he could live a normal life? And now he can't because his body is irreparably damaged. But anyways, folks, that's kind of my thoughts on it. And I don't know everything and I'm not perfect. So if you don't like my opinions, that's fine. You are welcome to go down in the comments and disagree with me all you want. If you liked this content, please also like and subscribe and comment down below your thoughts on the situation. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow in my next video. I appreciate all of you and hope you have a fantastic night. Peace.